Super Bowl 54 is taking place this weekend in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium. Both teams just came into Miami tonight, or they arrived yesterday, started the opening night festivities tonight. You saw the Chiefs roll in their tropical Hawaiian shirts in honor of head coach Andy Reid. It was a good look. This is a Super Bowl that everyone should be excited about. I feel like it might be a little underrated with how people are looking at it, but personally, I'm really excited for Sunday, and all of you should be as well. Thanks for tuning in. I am Ross, joined once again by Jalen. Thanks for joining us. And a couple things I want to talk about. Why you should be excited for this Super Bowl. A lot of people, I feel, are underestimating the San Francisco 49ers for whatever reason. The Niners have been underestimated the whole season. No one's actually really believed in them. And it still feels like, even though they're in the Super Bowl, they were number one seed in the NFC. They handled the Vikings. Then they crushed the Packers. And I feel like people are still not giving them the credit that they deserve. I'm going to be honest. I've been on the Niner train the whole season. So you guys can't knock me. They've consistently been in my top 5. They've made one a couple times. They've been in the top 3 plenty of times. And I have full belief in this San Francisco 49ers team that they're going to put on the show. And we'll get to our predictions at the end. First thing I want to talk about is not enough people are giving credit to the Niners. And they might be giving the Chiefs a little too much credit when it comes to that offense. The Kansas City Chiefs are only 5th. I say only as in it's a bad thing. That's just kind of what happens when from what we expect with the team with a guy like Patrick Mahomes at helm at the quarterback position. They're the number 5 scoring team in the NFL regular season. And surprisingly, not a lot of people know this. The San Francisco 49ers were number 2 in scoring offense in the regular season. The Niners averaged more points than the Chiefs, which was kind of shocking to me, to be honest. But I was more surprised that the Chiefs weren't even in the number 4 spot. They were just stuck at number 5, not even number 3. And my biggest takeaway about this game is I think their offenses are going to be fairly equal, but I might give the Chiefs the edge. But we got to look at defense because, as we all know, the tried and true statement is that defense wins championships. Let's look back through history. Most importantly, Super Bowl 48. That's a great recent example of what defense does because we had the Seattle Seahawks coming with the Legion of Boom when they're in their prime, the number 1 overall defense in the league that year. But they were going against the record-breaking offensive juggernaut Denver Broncos, led by Peyton Manning. They had the number 1 offense that season. And that game ended, was it 43-8? Something extreme like that. The game started off with a safety, and just from there, it went way, way downhill. Another example also contained the Broncos. Again, this was more recently in Super Bowl 50. You had the league MVP in Cam Newton. You had the 15-1 into the regular season Carolina Panthers. That offense was chugging the whole season. But what happened when they went Super Bowl 50? They put up 10 points. 10 points because that offense was great, but they were playing against the number 1 defense from that season in the Denver Broncos. They were playing against arguably the greatest postseason performing defense of all time, and arguably the best defense of all time. A defense that rivals the 85 Bears, that legendary Bears team the Broncos somehow rivaled. And that defense totally shut down Cam Newton. They shut down Mike Tolbert. They shut down the entire run game and passing game of the Carolina Panthers. They had, I believe, 3 takeaways, a couple fumbles. One was at the beginning of the game that really set the tone. That one went for a scoop and score. I believe Von Miller stripped Cam Newton. Malik Jackson fell on the ball in the end zone for the big tutter. And the game just got out of hand from there. But my point is, before I go on too much of a tangent about my Denver Broncos, defense wins championships, and that's exactly what the San Francisco 49ers have. They have the number one total defense from the regular season. That defense has been unreal. Richard Sherman entering his prime, arguably, right now, and that's ridiculous. Considering what he's been through, he's coming off a torn Achilles. Not very many people can come back from that injury, let alone start playing out of their mind and leading the defense and being one of the best cornerbacks in the entire league. Much credit to Richard Sherman. He really deserves it for the performance that he has put on this season. But maybe more important than him is that San Francisco 49ers front seven. The front seven that they've been building up for a few years now through the draft. Most recently, they got easily the defensive rookie of the year in Nick Bosa. Arguably defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa. You got Eric Armstead. You got a great linebacking core. You got big boys up front, and you got guys that are game wreckers. They wreck offensive lines. They stifle the run, and they make it so that the quarterback has no time in the pass game to drop back and scan the field and find that wide open guy. And there almost is never that wide open guy, especially when you have Richard Sherman on one side of the field. So rolling from that, keys to the game. My keys to the game for the San Francisco 49ers are as follows. Number one, I think one of the most important things is to keep Patrick Mahomes inside the pocket. We've all seen what he's done all season when he's able to roll out, create time, give more time for his receivers to find the little pocket in the zone defense, or to simply outmaneuver the defensive back in man coverage. You can only cover someone for so long in man. You can't hold someone for more than 6 seconds. That's almost impossible. And when Patrick Mahomes is able to roll outside, escape the pressure, create space, create time, and get a clear lane down the field, that's when he's most dangerous. But also not even getting outside the pocket for passing. Getting outside the pocket opens up a lot of running lanes for him. And Patrick Mahomes is a mobile quarterback. By no means is he a Lamar Jackson, but he is a mobile quarterback. We saw that touchdown run he had against the Titans, and that was absolutely ridiculous. Albeit that the Titans totally forgot how to tackle for a play that four really bad misses, which are almost unexcusable. But we can't just put all the blame on them. That's also credit to Patrick Mahomes on being able to run the ball that athletically and make those kinds of moves and make people miss in space, which is something some running backs struggle to do. Patrick Mahomes has it. I believe that the Niners will be able to do this just because of that one guy I previously mentioned, Nick Bosa, but also with the rest of the front seven. They got pass rushers on that team. I believe they'll be able to hold Mahomes into the pocket and make him step up and have to play inside that little 3-yard bubble. And if they're able to do that, if they're able to stop him from creating more lanes and taking him time, that's going to be big time in stopping that great passing offense of the Kansas City Chiefs. Number two also is with the passing defense. Don't let Travis Kelce beat you deep. Or for that matter, any of those really talented, really speedy, really athletic freaks they have there at the wideout positions. Tyreek Hill, fast as hell. You got Kelce, who's a tight end that really could be receiver on most teams. And he's been wrecking defenses, especially when he had 3 touchdowns alone against the Texans. He had 2 and a quarter. Travis Kelce is an animal in open space. He can get open and he can make plays with his feet, and he can make people miss in space. Don't let Travis Kelce beat you deep. Otherwise, you're going to have a really, really bad night. And number 3, it's been their key in both the games against the Vikings and the Packers, and that is to run the football. The Niners have to have a great game on the ground. They can't just rely on Jimmy G. He's the one. He might be the weakest point. I'm not saying he's weak, but he's the weakest point on the San Francisco 49ers. His sets don't look great from the past two playoff games they've had. That could be just because they haven't needed him, because they've had those monster run games. They've had in each game they had Tevin Coleman. I think ran for 195, couple touchdowns, insane. Against the Packers, they had an outstanding performance from Raheem Mostert, just running all over the Packers. And the thing about the Niners is that there's a lot of success. Their running success, of course, deserves a lot of credit to the running backs on being the talented athletes that they are. But at the same time, they've had wide open running lanes to run through. That offensive line has been absolutely killing it this year. The Niners, that's another point. They've really been building up the front seven defensively, and they've been building up that offensive line over the past 3-4 seasons. And that's really paying dividends right now. You still have a veteran and Hall of Famer, I'm going to say a Hall of Famer in Joe Staley over there at the tackle position. They've had some big guys from Stanford playing on the interior offensive line. We know Stanford runs the football well. The Niners also are luckily have George Kittle on that line, able to not only make plays in space when he's catching the ball, but George Kittle might be, he might be, I think he is the best run blocking tight end in the league. And their running success, their offensive line has been manhandling defensive lines and linebackers. They've been getting up to that second level, which is so vital when it comes to a run game. As offensive line, we always heard defensive linemen make tackles for losses. Linebackers just make tackles. They've been doing a great job with sealing that front line, and they've been able to pick up those backers and really make space at that second level so that running back could get through the initial line and be able to make that cut off the linebacker. He makes one linebacker miss. He's off to the third level, which is DBs and safeties, which are normally 10, 15 yards down the field. So that gives him a lot of space to run. Tevin Coleman can run through people. He is expected to be playing in the Super Bowl. He did have that dislocated shoulder last Sunday in their championship game against the Packers. But Niners team officials are saying that he should be good to go, and that's going to be a big boost. He's more their power back, where Mostert is more their speed back, but Mostert still has power with him. I think that's what's going to be the main points that the Niners have to focus on if they're able to keep Patrick Mahomes inside the pocket, don't let Kelsey beat you deep, and run the football. They will be able to win this game. Now over with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're opposite to the last key of the game for the San Francisco 49ers, which was run the football. My top key to the game for the Chiefs is to stop the run. That's been the way that the Niners have been winning these past two playoff games in fairly dominant fashion. They only when I say only, take it with a grain of salt. They only won by 17 in either game, but the score did not represent. The way, if you just watch the game, it would look like they might have won by 24 or 28. It was a 17-point margin, but the way the game was played, it was way more dominant than 17 points. So the Kansas City Chiefs
the teams.
have to stop the run game if they want to give their team a chance. Because one thing that the Titans did well, one of the few things they did, is that in the first quarter, they had a offensive drive that went for 8 minutes. Believe it was like 9-10 plays. And what they were doing is they were moving the ball methodically. They were getting short to medium passes. They were giving the ball off to Derrick Henry, and they were converting third downs. They were picking up first downs from second downs. And they were just moving the ball down the field, keeping Patrick Mahomes and the rest of that all-star offense off the field, draining the clock, and scoring a touchdown on that drive. That is the perfect drive, and that is how you beat the Chiefs. And the Chiefs can't let that happen. if they want to be in this game. They have to keep Mahomes on the field. They have to have him keep on throwing the super deep touchdown passes to that crazy receiving core along with Travis Kelce. And they have to keep their defense off the field because we all know if the Chiefs have a weak point, it is in that defense.
Yeah, their defense isn't the best. I would say they have a lot of key pieces in each position
D
that was
Ford
pretty
and
good.
Tyrann
Like,
Mathieu are the
yeah,
standouts. But besides, those are definitely two stars that carry the defense. But besides those two, it can seem a little lackluster in places.
yeah, the talent isn't really there. I feel like they've kind of just managed all season.
It also
They
helps
could
when your
definitely be
offense could
better.
score 30 points a game. It will.
So you can kind of just let stuff happen at that point.
I think
So
that's what's
yeah,
going to bind them in the ass. Same thing for the Packers. How their defense was always overlooked because Aaron Rodgers was just able to put up points. And when Rodgers was out, that team suffered because they didn't have a defense. Let's hope for the Chiefs' sake that that does not end up happening for them. One of my other points,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
one of my other points
I was
for
just
the damn, you can't do this.
okay.
I'm gonna go. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. One of my other points for the Niners was don't let Kelsey beat you deep. One of my keys for the Chiefs is don't let George Kittle beat you deep. Both these teams they arguably have the 1 and 2 tight end in the league. I wouldn't say arguably, they do. The only argument is
They do.
who's number one. In my opinion, the best tight end in the league right now is George Kittle, due to the fact that his ability in the pass game rivals and is just as good as Travis Kelce's. But what makes George Kittle even more important and a better asset than Travis Kelce is to the Chiefs is that George Kittle, as I mentioned in one of the keys, is that he could block. He might be, and I think he is, the
Very well.
best blocking tight end in the league that has the passing, the receiving ability that he does, and that's what really sets him aside from Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce cannot block nearly as well as George Kittle can. George Kittle knows how to get his hands dirty, and he knows how to play some offensive line. And I have mad respect for tight ends that can not only ball out going down the field, but ball out in the trenches as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's really hard nowadays. A lot of tight ends are one or the other. You kind of really each team usually has like a this is our blocking tight end, but we'll throw him out there on a pass just so we can mix it up. And this is our passing tight end, but we'll throw him out there on a run just so people can't predict it. But you can always tell like this is a this guy's going out for a pass or this
Well,
guy's
what
most likely going to just
Shanahan
stay in the
does
block.
well is having George Kittle block for a one count, for a two count, for a three count, and then hit a little spot
Hmm.
route, and say right in front of the linebackers that have already kind of bailed and given them space. So there's that cushion that he could just go and sit in and be that guy that could pick up a 5 yard chunk play. And Shanahan's
Yeah, I definitely
offense
think Kittle
is
is really
a
good.
great asset to the San Francisco 49ers. That guy is
Yeah,
he's going to be better than Sean McVay.
definitely.
Mm.
I think George Kittle and Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce's more of the deep threat. I think George Kittle is more of the he finds space in defense and tears you apart that way. It's kind of like usually if it's a tight end, he's going to try to go up on a route, get
Mm.
bigger than you, or he's just going to sit, catch the ball on the sideline, try to run you over for a couple of yards. But I feel like he kind of just sits there in space and he's so quick that after he catches the ball, he's already 10 yards down from where he caught it. And you don't expect that from a tight end nowadays. So I just think he's a change of pace that a lot of teams don't really realize how big of a change of pace he is until they end up again. And then it's too late.
Yes, that is a good point. My final key to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs is it's simple, and that is just get the ball to your playmakers and let them make plays. The Kansas City Chiefs offensively have so many weapons, it is unheard of. You have Patrick Mahomes, that is able to gun the. He has a cannon is for an arm. He's accurate as hell, and he's mobile, and he could make time and space for them to get a great pass off. You have Travis Kelce, as we mentioned, great deep threat as a tight end. He's pretty physical as well, which is a great attribute to him. That offense has speed. Tyreek Hill is flat out fast. That's all you can describe him as. He's just fast. He will beat anyone in there in a track race. He'll just outrun you. And there's nothing you can do about it. You get the ball to him in space, he'll beat everyone. You have to take the best, most perfect angle just to try to match him at the 1 yard line if he's in space. Sammy Watkins, who started out the season really white hot, 3 touchdowns. He kind of cooled. He didn't have a touchdown since then, which really screwed me in fantasy, by the way. Thank you, Sammy. But Sammy Watkins is still fast. He's still one hell of an athlete. Then at running back, you have a guy like Damian Williams, who's been pretty solid there in the backfield. Darrell Williams. You also have rookie Darren Thompson. I believe he's out of Utah State. And that offense simply can just flat out ball and make plays. If you give one of those guys like a few yards of cushion, they'll be able to make people miss and make people miss badly. They embarrass defenses in open space. And if the Chiefs are able just to get the ball to the playmakers and let those guys play that backyard football style offense where it's just getting open, trying to juke some guys, hit a couple spin moves, and make space and just run down that sideline, then I believe they will be successful coming up this Sunday.
Definitely. I think the one advantage that the Chiefs have over a lot of the other teams that the 49ers have played this season and played in the playoffs, especially like the Packers, is the Chiefs don't rely on their run game. While they do have a pretty good run game, they don't rely on it. And I feel like that's what happened with the Packers. The Packers tried to run the ball. They realized they couldn't, and then they tried to throw the ball. But then by then, the 49ers already realized they're giving up on the run, so then they could commit to pass. And I feel like with the Chiefs, it's like they're going to be committed to their pass game, and they're going to try to tire you out with how fast they are, and then that's when they hit you with their run. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what the Packers did wrong, is they tried to run first, and then they got that stuffed out.
When the 49ers got confident, we're like, teams utilizes that running back is in their screen games. Andy Reid has a great screen offense. They get them
those wheel routes. They run a lot of wheel routes.
Yes, they do. That's how running backs just kind of just sneak away from that defense and get wide open. But the way they develop plays, I think that's going to be one of the most fun things to watch because you have Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan, who are two of the best offensive-minded coaches in the league right now. They might be the top 2. And they're going to come up with some plays, and they're going to fool the hell out of those defenses. And just from the sheer playmaking standpoint and play calling, that's going to be a really interesting aspect of the game to watch. And I'm tremendously excited to watch that offensive mastery take place.
Yeah, definitely. I believe this Super Bowl should be one of the better ones we've had in a while. And we've had a couple of good Super Bowls lately, but
not talking about last year's, one should be doing.
Not last year's. That was terrible. That was probably the worst Super Bowl
forever to look forward to. I will bet my left hand that this game is better than last year's.
Definitely.
You want to make that bet with me as well?
No, because we agree. I'm not going to go against what I believe.
No. I mean, you want to be willing to put your hand on the line with me?
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm good. I'll keep my hand just in case they screw us over.
All right. I don't blame you. You're little probably actually think that went out a little more, but who cares? Jalen, those
just a little bit
are the keys, and those are how the team's going to win this game. Let's just get down to brass tacks. Let's get down to the thing that everyone cares about, and that is the predictions. What is your prediction for the winner of Super Bowl 54 in the NFL's 100th anniversary?
I think we're gonna have one of our highest scoring Super Bowls of all time,
Hmm.
and I think the score is going to end 42-35 Chiefs.
Chiefs. That's your pick. You
Yes,
confident in
I
that?
gotta go with the Chiefs on this one. I actually am pretty confident. The score wise, I'm kind of iffy because I don't really know. This game could go really like low scoring
Are you
because
thinking
of the way
it's?
the defenses could play. But
Are you
go
thinking
ahead.
it? Is there any way that it's more than a one-score game?
It, I think it can be, but I think the only way it
Is it
is if
likely to
it's
be?
to the Chiefs. I don't think it's likely to be more. I think it could be. I think whoever wins the game is going to be up by a touchdown, get the ball back, and kick a field goal. And I think whoever wins is probably going to win around by like 10 points if it's a two score.
Okay.
But I don't know. The score is going to be unpredictable because you don't know if the Chiefs are going to show up and then it's a back and forth game
Mm-hmm.
and then it's a being high
Is it going to be a
scoring
shootout, or
or
is it going to be a
somehow
defensive
both
matchup,
defenses.
or is it going to be even?
Exactly. You never know.
That's one of the aspects I'm
And
looking
so I
forward to
can't really
is
decide.
the unpredictability that this matchup brings to the table.
Definitely.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you though, Jalen. My final score of the Super Bowl is going to be 34-28 in favor of who's soon to be the six-time NFL champs, the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers are going to go from one of the worst teams last year to the best team this year. And they're going to be one of the few teams to ever do that. The San Francisco 49ers are going to be Super Bowl 54 champions, and Kyle Shanahan, an MVP of Super Bowl 54, Nick Bosa, are going to raise
Mm.
those trophies high in that rain of confetti down there in Miami, Florida this Sunday.
My question to you, Ross, is who is your offense and defensive MVP for both sides? So offensive
Okay,
MVP
so
for both
if
sides
there
and a
is going to
defensive
be
MVP for both sides.
if the MVPs from the offense on the Niners, it's going to be George Kittle. If the if the MVP is from the Chiefs on offense, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. If we're going to defense, I
Mm-hmm.
believe the MVP of the Super Bowl is going to be Nick Bosa. And then if it's a defensive MVP for the Chiefs, then that is going to be Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah,
Those
I think we agree definitely upon those.
hell yeah. Those that is where it's going to be. And
I actually
I can't wait for
I
this
think
game.
a sleeper MVP linebacker. I believe his name is Warner, Fred Warner, number 54.
Mm.
I believe that's his name. I might be wrong. Correct me if I
No,
am
I
wrong.
believe
I
you're
do
correct.
apologize if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's
Fred
Fred
Warner.
Warner. I think he's kind of had like a silently good season this year. Um, I think that kind of like midline game with Travis Kelsey
Mm-hmm.
and those screen runs and those plays, those wheel routes to running back, like he can be a really big game changer if Nick Bosa and Richard Sherman aren't having the best game. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they could steal that middle of the field if he kind of runs it the way he's actually been playing really well. And I feel like he can also be kind of a sleeper MVP for the 49ers defense.
That is a great point, Jalen. Thanks for bringing him up. I would be
No problem.
shocked, but that would be one hell of a prediction for you to get right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's always that, in the
Hey,
Super Bowl, it never fails.
you never
There's always that one guy
any
no one
given
knows.
Sunday, you never know what's going to happen in one of these NFL playoff games. And all I know is I
Exactly.
am tremendously excited for this Super Bowl matchup. I hope everyone else is, as you should be. And we will see who comes victorious in the 100th
We
anniversary
will see.
season of the
It's a week
National
away.
Football League, and as long as it's not the Chiefs, please. As a Broncos fan, go Niners.
As a Cardinals fan, I really hope it's not the 49ers. Go
And
Chiefs.
as a Coach Ogeron fan, go Tigers.